When you finally understand that creation is finished, you stop chasing what is already yours. You no longer struggle, you no longer beg, you no longer fight with the world outside, because you know the world outside is nothing but the echo of the world within. The moment you assume something to be true, and you relax into that assumption as though it were the most natural thing in the world, creation begins to rearrange itself around you. Effortless manifestation is not about doing more. It is about allowing more. It is the art of sinking into the state where your desire feels familiar, where it feels normal, where it feels done. Most people try to manifest with tension, with fear, with worry, with impatient effort. They attempt to force results with physical action, hoping movement of the body can replace movement of the mind. But true manifestation begins only when you quiet the noise of doubt and let your inner world speak with authority. When you assume a state with ease, without desperation, without the frantic need to see something happen immediately, you slip into the creative power that shapes reality. The relaxed assumption is not a lazy state, it is a deeply powerful one, because it comes from knowing rather than wishing. Imagine the desire you hold in your heart. See it with the gentle confidence of something already accomplished. Feel it not as a hope, but as a memory. When you breathe into this state and rest in the feeling of it, you send a silent command to the universe that requires no struggle, no repeated effort, no anxiety. The outer world must obey the inner conviction. Every event, every circumstance, every detail of your life begins to shift itself to match the inner experience you have accepted as true. There is a profound difference between wanting and assuming. Wanting keeps your desire away, assuming brings it close. Wanting says, I hope one day this comes. Assuming whispers, it is already mine. The mind that knows how to relax into the fulfilled state is the mind that manifests effortlessly. When you stop fighting for your desire and instead rest in the feeling of it already being yours, you dissolve the resistance that keeps it distant. You stop vibrating in lack, and you start existing in the frequency of fulfillment. Effortless manifestation is the return to your natural state of power. It is the moment you stop doubting who you are, the moment you stop arguing with your imagination, the moment you allow your inner world to be more real than the facts your senses show you. If your inner world is strong enough, stable enough, and clear enough, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Relaxed assumption is the doorway through which your desires enter physical form. It is the quiet confidence that does not demand proof, because the proof is already felt within. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and gently step into the version of yourself who already has what you want. Do not rush. Do not strain. Let the feeling rise like a warm tide, effortless and natural. Let it become the atmosphere of your being. The more relaxed you are, the more believable the assumption becomes. The more believable it becomes, the faster it crystallizes into your reality. Do not worry about the how, for the how belongs to the unseen power that orchestrates everything. Your only work is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, without tension, without doubt, without fear. Life responds not to your effort, but to your state. When you rest in the feeling of already having your desire, you begin to attract experiences that match that state. People, opportunities, ideas, and events start aligning in ways you could never predict. You become a magnet simply by being. Effortless manifestation is the mastery of allowing. It is the acceptance that everything you want is already created and waiting for you to line up with it mentally and emotionally. Every time you feel anxiety creeping in, return to your inner world. Every time your senses show you something contradictory, go back to your assumption. The relaxed mind wins because it refuses to argue with appearances. It knows the truth is within, not outside. Your desires are not distant dreams, they are realities waiting for you to embody them. They are possibilities waiting to become memories. When you relax into the assumption that they are already yours, you invite them into your world without strain. This is the secret: you do not manifest by effort, you manifest by identity. When the identity matches the desire, manifestation becomes inevitable. When you quietly and confidently live from the end, your world must bend to reflect it. Relaxed assumption is the art of slipping into the end and staying there with natural ease. And as you remain in this state, everything you desire begins to flow to you, not through force, but through alignment, not through struggle, but through certainty, not through stress, but through the effortless power of your own imagination. The moment you release the need to control every detail of your manifestation, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop standing in your own way. You stop blocking the flow that was always meant to reach you. There is a natural rhythm to creation, a gentle current that carries your desires toward you, the same way the tide carries the ocean toward the shore. When you relax into your assumption, you allow this current to move freely. When you tense up, doubt, or worry, you create resistance. But when you soften, when you let yourself settle into the certainty of your desire, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. There is a profound truth in understanding that your desire is not separate from you. You and your desire are one. The feeling of wanting something is simply the signal that it already exists within the unseen and is seeking expression through you. You are not chasing it. It is calling you from the invisible world, asking you to accept it as yours. When you relax and assume it is already done, you become an open channel through which that unseen reality flows into the physical world. This is why relaxed assumption works. It aligns you with what is already yours. You do not force a seed to grow. You do not pull at its leaves, stretch its roots, or demand it sprout faster. You simply plant it, water it lightly, give it sunlight, and trust its nature to unfold. The same is true with your desires. They are seeds planted in the soil of your imagination. Your relaxed assumption is the sunlight and water. Your patience is the fertile ground. Your faith is the space in which they grow. When you relax into the idea that your desire is already on its way, you stop checking the soil every minute, and you stop interrupting the natural process with fear. You let it happen. Effortless manifestation is a state where your inner certainty becomes stronger than external circumstances. When you are relaxed in your assumption, you no longer look at the world with the eyes of lack. You stop judging your progress by what your senses show you. Instead, you judge by what your inner world knows. And there is a quiet authority in that knowing. An authority that does not shout. An authority that does not panic. It simply holds the image, the feeling, the state, and allows the universe to catch up. As you continue to embody this relaxed state, you begin to notice subtle shifts within yourself. Your reactions soften. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotional state becomes stable. You no longer feel the need to argue with life or fight for what you want. You begin to trust the unseen. You begin to trust the timing. And in that trust, your energy becomes magnetic. People respond to you differently. Opportunities move toward you without your effort. Things begin to fall into place almost mysteriously, as if the world itself rearranged to fulfill your assumption. It is not magic, though it may feel like it. It is alignment. Alignment between the inner and outer, the invisible and visible, the imagined and the experienced. All you are doing is matching the frequency of what you desire. And the easiest way to match that frequency is through relaxed, natural, effortless assumption. When you assume something lightly but confidently, without forcing the feeling or trying to produce emotion, you allow the inner shift to happen gradually and organically. This is why relaxed assumption is more powerful than forced visualization or intense emotional effort. It does not burn you out, it lifts you up. There is an effortless grace in assuming your desire is already done. You do not have to dramatize it. You do not have to rehearse elaborate stories. You simply return again and again to the gentle feeling of it being yours. It is the feeling of waking up knowing something wonderful has happened, even if your senses have not caught up yet. It is the feeling of remembering rather than creating, of recognizing rather than striving. When this feeling becomes familiar, your desire becomes inevitable. One of the greatest barriers to manifestation is impatience. Impatience signals doubt. It tells the universe, I am not sure if this is working. But when you relax into your assumption, impatience fades naturally. You begin to understand that everything is unfolding perfectly, even if you cannot see it yet. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop questioning whether you're doing it right. You stop worrying about timing. You trust the invisible process, just as you trust the rising of the sun. You know it is coming. You may not realize it, but as you remain in this relaxed assumption, your mind undergoes a transformation. Old limiting beliefs dissolve slowly, quietly, almost without effort. They fall away because your new assumption leaves no space for them. The more you live in the end, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth. And once your subconscious accepts something as true, the physical world must reflect it. It is law. It cannot fail. Every desire has a natural path to you, a path you do not need to see, a path you do not need to figure out. Your only role is to align with the version of yourself who has already walked that path internally. This is why relaxed assumption is the most powerful manifestation technique. It shifts your identity, not just your thoughts. Your identity is what manifests. Your identity is what speaks to the universe. When you identify yourself as someone who already has your desire, the world mirrors it. Let your assumption be light. Let it be gentle. Let it be natural. Do not try to hold the feeling with tension. Do not force yourself to think about it 24/7. That is effort, and effort signals lack. Instead, move through your day knowing it is already yours. Move as the version of you who has already received it. Let your actions flow from your assumption, not from fear. Let your decisions come from your fulfilled self, not from the person still waiting. You do not manifest by trying, you manifest by knowing. Knowing comes from relaxation. Knowing comes from ease. Knowing comes from the quiet confidence of someone who already holds the outcome in their heart. When you touch this state, even briefly, the universe responds quickly. When you maintain it with calmness, the universe responds unmistakably. You are meant to manifest effortlessly. You were not born to struggle for what is already created. You were born to assume and receive. You were born to imagine and experience. You were born to align with the reality that matches your inner world. Everything you desire is already prepared for you. Everything you want already exists in potential. And the bridge between you and that reality is not effort. It is assumption, relaxed, confident, natural assumption. As you continue to rest in this relaxed state of fulfillment, you start to realize something remarkable. Life was never meant to be a battle. The struggle you once believed was necessary was only a reflection of a mind that did not yet understand its own creative power. When you assume your desire with ease, you return to the natural flow of creation, the flow that was always meant to guide you. The tension, the forcing, the doubt, these were learned habits, not truths. The truth is that your imagination is the only true source of reality, and once you embrace this fully, effort becomes unnecessary. You begin to see how effortlessly life responds to you. You feel an inner shift long before anything changes externally. This shift is subtle, almost whisper-like. It is the quiet confidence that settles in your chest, the gentle inner warmth that grows each day, the sense that everything is working out, even if you cannot yet see the path. This inner shift is the seed of manifestation. It is the evidence that your assumption has taken root in the subconscious mind. And when the subconscious accepts something, it must express itself. It is law, absolute and unbroken. When you remain relaxed, you stop interrupting this process with fear-based thoughts. You stop analyzing every small detail. You stop wondering when or how. You begin to understand that when a possibility exists in imagination, it is already a reality in a higher dimension. Your task is simply to tune into that dimension by assuming its truth. The more relaxed you are, the easier this tuning becomes. It is like adjusting a dial on a radio. When the signal is clear, the reality is clear. When the signal is filled with static, the manifestation appears delayed. Relaxation removes the static. Effortless manifestation does not mean you never take action. It means your actions are inspired, aligned, and effortless. They come from the version of you who already has the result, not from the version of you who is struggling to obtain it. You no longer act from desperation. You act from clarity. You act because it feels natural, not because you feel pressured. And this kind of aligned action can produce results that seem miraculous to those who do not understand the power of assumption. You start to see how the world moves on your behalf. An opportunity arises without you searching for it. A person comes into your life at the perfect moment. A path opens that you never considered. The right words come to you. The right ideas flow through you. Life becomes cooperative, not resistant. It bends, reshapes, and adjusts to the inner state you have accepted. This is the effortless nature of manifestation. When the inner world changes, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Even in moments when appearances contradict your desire, your relaxed assumption remains unshaken. You begin to see these contradictions as illusions, as remnants of your old state fading away. You realize they hold no power unless you give them power. You observe them with detachment. You do not fight them, you simply ignore them. You return to your end state. You return to the fulfilled version of yourself. And with every return, you deepen the imprint on your subconscious mind. In this state, your emotions become your allies instead of obstacles. You no longer fear negative emotions because you know they are temporary and powerless. Instead, you gently redirect yourself to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. You allow the old emotions to dissolve naturally, without resistance. You no longer fight yourself. You no longer force yourself to be positive. You simply choose the state you prefer, and the emotions eventually follow. The relaxed assumption leads your emotional world into alignment, just as it aligns your physical world. You begin to appreciate the power of silence. The quiet moments where you sit with your imagination, where you feel the reality of your desire without needing to see proof, become sacred. In those moments, your inner world becomes more real than anything outside. And this is the essence of effortless manifestation, the ability to trust what you feel within, even when the senses contradict it. Those who trust their inner world shape their outer world. Those who depend on their outer world remain its servant. You notice how your identity starts to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone who wants something. You see yourself as someone who has something. This subtle shift in identity is the root of all manifestation. When your identity changes, your destiny changes. When your self-concept adjusts, your reality adjusts. The person you become in imagination is the person you become in life. And when you relax into the assumption of this new self, the transformation happens effortlessly. Your life becomes a reflection of your inner convictions. If you assume peace, peace surrounds you. If you assume abundance, abundance finds you. If you assume love, love flows toward you. It may come through unexpected channels, but it always comes. The relaxed mind does not demand a specific path. It receives with gratitude whatever path unfolds. This allows the universe to deliver your desire in the most perfect, effortless way. You begin to trust delays because you understand they are not denials. They are simply processes rearranging themselves to bring your desire in the most seamless manner. You recognize that when something seems slow, it is only because something better is being prepared. In this understanding, you remain calm. You remain centered. You remain in the assumption of fulfillment, knowing that your inner world has already accepted the desire and the outer world is simply catching up. Even your relationship with time changes. You stop measuring the distance between no and your desire. Instead, you live as though the desire is already part of your present moment. This creates a powerful energetic shift. When you collapse the idea of time, when you stop believing manifestation must take long, you allow it to happen much faster. Relaxed assumption dissolves the illusion of waiting. In your inner world, there is no delay. The moment you assume, it is done. You begin to realize that effort was never the path. Effort only creates resistance. Effort comes from a belief that you do not have what you want. Relaxed assumption, on the other hand, comes from a belief that you already possess it. The emotions tied to effort are anxiety, pressure, and exhaustion. The emotions tied to relaxed assumption are calmness, expectation, and joy. One drains you, the other empowers you. As you continue to live in the end, your imagination becomes your sanctuary. It becomes a place where you can instantly access the world you desire. The more comfortable you become in this imagined world, the more naturally it manifests physically. You start noticing synchronicities, signs, symbols, numbers, encounters that confirm your manifestation is unfolding perfectly. These signs are not coincidences, they are reflections of your inner alignment. Your faith becomes unshakable, not because you force yourself to believe, but because the inner experience feels so real that the outer world becomes irrelevant. This is the power of relaxed assumption. It allows you to believe without effort, without forcing yourself into faith. The knowing emerges naturally, gently, confidently. And once you know, nothing can stop the manifestation from coming. Even when faced with challenges, you remain anchored in your assumption. You view obstacles not as problems, but as bridges. You understand that even the seeming detours are part of the perfect unfolding. Nothing that happens can contradict your inner conviction. because you no longer identify with the old self. You have stepped into a new version of you, a version whose desires are already fulfilled. Through this process, you learn that your imagination is not a place of escape, it is a place of creation. It is the workshop of your reality. When you enter it with relaxed confidence, you sculpt the world you want to experience. And when you leave it, the world begins to shape itself according to the blueprint you created within. Your life changes not because you fight for change, but because you assume the change is already done. This assumption transforms your energy, your behavior, your expectations, and the way others respond to you. When your energy shifts, your world shifts. When you expect different results, reality organizes itself around those expectations. And as this unfolds, you begin to see the beauty of effortless manifestation. You notice how natural it is, how peaceful, how gentle, how aligned. It feels less like you are creating something and more like you are remembering something that was always meant for you. In the end, everything you seek is already seeking you. The moment you choose to relax into the certainty of your desire, the universe moves in ways you cannot yet see. You were never meant to force results into existence. You were meant to assume their reality and allow life to match your inner knowing. Your imagination is not a place of fantasy. It is the birthplace of every future you will ever live. So rest, breathe, step into the version of yourself who already has what you want, and let that identity become your home. Do not rush, do not question, do not doubt. What is yours cannot be kept from you. What you have assumed with conviction must come to pass. Walk forward in calm expectation, for the world is rearranging itself in your favor. And as you hold your desire with relaxed certainty, you will watch it unfold effortlessly, naturally, inevitably, exactly as it was always meant to.